Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, they've done it. They've released the actual information around the dupe system. We're going to watch this video with Sorella telling us all about it. And I guess I'm just going to give you my view as we go through it. Is it what we were looking for? Or is it an absolute crock? I've got to be honest. This is almost like a no-win situation for Raid because it's gone on so long. Yeah. It's taken them like, what, a year and some of saying it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. At this point, the community have got this expectation, which is so high that to reach that expectation without breaking the game is incredibly difficult to do. So let's see what they come up with. I'm genuinely nervous. Let's do it, Sorella.
Hey everyone, and welcome to our latest preview video. Today we're going to talk about the new systems for helping you get the most value from your duplicate champions. As duplicate champions is a multifaceted issue, we analyzed a variety of situations and identified a few key issues that different groups of players face. And because there were a few different situations and issues, we had to come up with a few different solutions. Something that applies more to newcomers looking to progress quickly, something that may be more useful for mid-game players looking to make the step up, and something that will be more beneficial to end-game players with pretty bloated champion collections.
It's actually, it's a really good point. So to bring out a system that makes an endgame player think, yes, you know, like my main account where I've got 4 or 5 Whirlims and I can't honestly think what they're going to do, which is going to empower my account or make it worthwhile. They're certainly not going to give us champions that we just don't own because that's how they make money. Okay, that's their income. Shard pools is the income of this game, or the big chunk of it. So they're not just going to do that. So it's really difficult actually to come up with something which is going to be relevant for everyone.
We wanted to make sure there was a solution that everyone could potentially benefit from, no matter where they are in game. All right, enough talk. Let's get into it. You all know the sparring pit in your bastion, where champions bash each other on the head to gain experience. Well, it's getting an upgrade. The new guy.
Interesting. I did not expect him to say that. I thought they were going to say the big purple tower that's sat there since the game was launched. This is where you're going to go and train dupes or something. Interesting. They're going to upgrade the sparring pit, which I think is worthwhile. The sparring pit at the moment is pretty useless. It's honestly quite a weak feature of the game. So cool. I think that's quite a good idea.
Guardian Ring will still have all the functionality of the sparring pit inside, but it will also have a bunch of new mechanics.
Do you think you'd have to pay to upgrade it? You have to pay to upgrade the sparring pit with gems from basically useless to training various different numbers of champs. You'd have to pay to upgrade these different areas as well,
including Faction Guardians, Champion Empowerment, and Champion Unbinding. You won't know what those are yet, but don't worry, I'll take you through them all.
Please
Let's start with the feature the ring is named after, Faction Guardians. The Faction Guardians tab will let you assign duplicate champions of different rarities to become Faction Guardians. This means they'll boost the stats of all champions of the same rarity in that faction. When you first visit the tab, you'll see a list of all factions. Tapping on any of the banners will bring up a new tab with the duplicate slots available. Each slot gives a stat bonus to all champions of that faction and of that specific rarity.
I actually like the fact that they've got rares, epics, and legendaries in here. And it looks like here, I mean, you can see just behind the text, you got like, what? For HP and attack percent, rares give you the same boost as epics or legendaries. Whereas for stats like accuracy and resistance, the different rarities boosting up give you higher stats. For speed, it's higher stats as well based on different rarities. So the base stats, what they class as the base stats, HP, attack, and defense, are all boosted the same irrelevant of rarity, whereas the kind of sexier stats, which you need more for account growth and, you know, end-game content, in fairness, get more powerful as you go through different rarities. So I kind of like that. And it means that you basically have got to have 10 legendaries, 10 rares, epics, and legendaries for each faction to unlock the whole thing. So you're already talking about there 30 champions per faction just to do this. And what is it, 14 factions? So you're kind of holding on to, what's that, 450 odd champions, I think, off the top of my head, just to do the unlock thing. It's quite a lot of your space, actually. It's quite a lot. Let me just check that. What is that in terms of the space that we've got right now? So we've got 300 volt. So we've got a potential space of what, 660? Maybe I've not unlocked everything. I'm not sure, actually. Maybe I've got a bit more that I can unlock because I never bothered. Can't remember. But let's say there's maybe there's like 700 total space or something like that. So, you know what, 2/3 of it is going to be taken up just by applying slots by champions. I don't know if they've taken that into account or not. Let's keep going.
It's a bit similar to Great Hall bonuses, but faction-specific instead of affinity-specific.
I like it.
Slots are unlocked in order, so after you get your bonus to HP, you'll unlock the slots that can get you bonus stack, which will unlock the slots for defense, and so on. For example,
you know what, for a newer player, this is actually super cool. So, you know, getting 6 rares as a newer player for a faction, it's pretty comfortable to do in a relatively small amount of time. Whereas getting 6 epics and 6 legendaries obviously takes a lot longer. But at least you get some decent stats early on. You know, HP, attack, accuracy, resistance early on with 6 rares. Thinking on my free-to-play account here, that would actually be really useful for pretty much all factions. So I do like that. And then obviously my main account starts to really chunk up. I don't think there's any factions where I wouldn't max this out. Albeit I probably don't have the rares, to be fair. But I probably would max this out on all factions straight away.
Example, let's say we have 2 Raglins. You'll be able to put them both into the first legendary Bannerlord slot and unlock a 10% HP boost for all legendary Bannerlords you own, including your Raglins, both of which you can still use. If you also had a pair of Barons, you can put them in the second slot that was just unlocked to get an attack boost, and so on. As I mentioned, champions you make into Faction Guardians can still be used in battles. As long as you don't get rid of either champions, you'll get the bonus. And Faction Guardians aren't only available for legendaries. Epic and rare champions can also become Faction Guardians.
So it doesn't lock them out of the game. They can still play the game. They're still valuable in all content. They're literally just there as placeholders to fill the slots. I kind of like it, actually. It's like another Great Hall, like she said. I'm surprised they've put speed into it, honestly. But I guess for most people that are endgame, they're probably going to have close to 10 legendaries. Depends, really. If you're not spent any money, maybe you don't have close to 10. But you certainly would have close to 10 epics if you've worked through the game for a while. I'm surprised they put speed into it. And everything else, I think, cool, go for it. Bit really, the same reason why I'm not surprised that speed isn't in the Great Hall. I'm surprised speed is in this. I probably would have pushed crit damage in here if I was building this myself. But I still like it. I still think it's a good first solution.
Since you don't lose your champions when you assign them to be Guardians, you can still use them. For new players, this means you can boost the stats of your rare and epic champions and bring them more in line with the strength of standard legendary champions that you're having to fight against. If you don't have many legendaries yet, this can be a big help in closing the gap.
It's an interesting concept, that. So pulling epics closer to the power of legendaries. On paper, it makes complete sense. You know, I've said for a while, it feels like epics are being power crept quite hard, and epics can do anything in the game right now. There's a lot of epics, in fact, coming in place of legendaries. You know, you've got your Man-Eaters, your Seers, Eurogrim for a while, Geomancer still strong. You know, you've got a lot of epics, Vogoth, that do crazy work in a lot of content. And, you know, pulling them closer to that legendary boundary already is kind of a scary prospect. But then I guess as you go towards proper endgame, actually all of those do start to get replaced with legendaries, and you fill the legendary slots up. So it's quite a cool system, actually. I think they've done a good job of that.
And winning some harder fights in the arena or the dungeons. For mid-game players, this flexibility will help you conquer the arena or beat some of the raid's tougher challenges, like some of the trickier secret rooms in the Doom Tower. And as your collection grows, you'll be able to benefit from some pretty sweet stat boosts if you manage to summon a couple of duplicate legendaries. For endgame players, this means you can have your cake and eat it too. You can get the stats boost from assigning some legendary faction guardians and keep your duplicate champion available in case you want to build a second of a certain champions with a different artifact setup for a completely different role. And for everyone, no matter where you are in the game, bonus stats mean that all of you can be a bit bolder when experimenting with artifact setups. Okay, let's move on to our second option, champion empowerment. The principle is pretty simple. You select a legendary champion and feed them their duplicates to permanently empower them and give them a stat boost. You can do this up to 4 times. But keep in mind that you'll permanently lose the champions you used to empower another, so think twice before you do it. Like,
this one is it's gonna cause like a 50-50 split, honestly. So empowering a certain champion up to 4 times, maybe they're gonna come on to tell us. So far they've not told us what that empowerment is. Well, I'll tell you what, I already know. I've watched the video already. They don't tell us. And we've asked, and they won't tell us. So that is something I'm not that keen on. You know, if someone's got, I don't know, 4 spare Duchesses, for example, and Duchess is already an absolute arena beast, and it's mainly arena that I'm thinking of here, almost feel like the empowerment should just be turned off for the arena, personally. PvE, I don't mind champions being empowered, all that type of stuff, because all it's doing is it's helping that one individual beat new content, okay? And that's kind of down to them if they want to feed those champions or not. PvP, I just feel like it's pushing more and more towards, and it's always been this way, honestly, but, you know, who's spent the most, who's farmed the most gear, who's got the right champions, etc. Now, once you've got the champions, it's then like the gear ceiling is kind of like up here, and you know, people that farm umpteen times a day, every single day, 2,000 gems every day, clearly just slightly creep above those that can't afford to do that or don't want to do that. And then it's this empowerment thing again just comes into like a pay to win mentality, which for PvP, I don't think it's that healthy for the games. It doesn't really create that environment where people want to pitch themselves against others. You know, you just don't feel like you're on a fair playing field.
we said, we limited it. So while they can get a nice boost, you can't make them into unbeatable monsters. We want to make sure it won't throw game balance off.
It's so important. Until we know what it means, until we know what empowerment means and what sort of stat gain there is, we won't know. But I guess comment below, what's your view on that one? What's your view on the first 2 we've seen, honestly? But what's your view on empowering champions with duplicates? How do you feel about it, both PvE and PvP?
We also realized there are a few champions you can't ever get duplicates of. Lydia the Death Siren, Gumlock Skyhigh, Ura's Soul Cage, and a few others. So that these powerful champions aren't left out of this feature, we've assigned other champions from their faction to act as their surrogate duplicates as far as empowering is concerned. For example, you'll be able to use Vizix to empower Lydia. Anyway, the entire list will be available in the game once the Guardian Ring goes live. Finally, we have the champion Unbinding feature.
I mean, it's just worth saying, like, to get duplicate Void legendaries, to get any Void legendary is insane. To get duplicates is crazy. To then empower them is, I mean, yeah, I don't know about that.
That is also exclusive to legendary champions. In this tab, you'll be able to permanently release your legendary dupes to get a special resource called life tokens. You'll lose those dupes forever, but you get a life token for giving them their life back. There's nothing fancy about the process itself. You choose a champion, triple check them to make sure you don't need them, then release them from your service to get a life token. From there, you go to the Token Trader tab and behold several shiny legendary champions that you can get using life tokens. Different legendaries will have a different price based on their power, and you only get each of them from the Token Trader once.
I like this. I mean, obviously we don't know how many tokens you're going to need, but this is kind of where I was going originally by saying, you know, trade in a legendary and get almost like a question mark token and it's kind of what they're doing actually. So maybe 3 legendaries would you'd be able to go and buy a different legendary, and it looks like that's kind of what they're doing. I'd imagine it's not going to be 3; it'll probably be 5 or 10 or something like that. But the chance to actually pick a legendary that you want is interesting. I guess it depends which ones they're going to have in there. I hope they have all of the past fusions for a start, at least. But that's quite interesting. I wonder if it feels like that's just a legendary thing. It doesn't feel like that's going to be an epic thing, which is a shame, actually. I think epics, like past fusion epics, would be cool to see in there as well. But this is definitely, I mean, talking about an overall picture here, boost stats with one thing, empowerment I'm not too keen on, but then the third one around trading dupe legendaries for other legendaries as well. Feels like it's actually, for all the time they spent on it, they've actually thought it out pretty well. Feels like it's not bad.
With this feature, you'll be able to get rid of unwanted duplicates and choose a champion you do want from the token trader list instead. We're going to be making a variety of champions available from the token trader, including some you might have missed out on from champion fusion events if you weren't lucky enough to be playing Raid back then. Folly, Molly Tankard, Fushan, Minaya, and a few others will all be available.
Good.
Oh, and it's the holiday season soon, so the very special, very jolly Sir Nicholas will be coming to town as well. That's about it for the video. Be sure to let us know how things go once you've had a chance to...
Okay, so look, give us your thoughts below. I've got to say, if I was giving this out of 10, I'd say 8 out of 10. Like, fair play. They've actually got a system here which I think enhances the game. And I've got to be honest, like, I was expecting it to be way worse than this. Like, way worse than this. So, Cirilla, team, from me, I think good job. Good job. Could have been a ton worse. I'll be interested to see what the community feedback is below. But me personally, I think good job. I just hope the empowerment is not like crazy over the top. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. I've been Hell Hades. I will catch you later.